Well, I hope everyone enjoyed that, and I'm sorry I didn't get to all the questions, and they're really, really good and tough questions. So I think as you gathered, I'm Kathleen Merrigan. I work at Arizona State University, and because I was in front of my boss, I think he kept saying ASU, my old boss, but I do recognize that U of A is here, and NAU is here, and other colleges, and hopefully we work on all of these challenges together. I've been asked to say a few words, and then I'll turn it over to Director Killian. So I'm really excited about today's event because what I'm hoping we're doing here together is we're co-producing knowledge and co-producing ideas for solutions. And I think the best of all of that comes when we're embedded in our communities. So I find that very enriching. I'm really excited about our event today and tomorrow. I was asked to say a few words about the Swette Center for Sustainable Food Systems, which I direct. We have about 90 or so faculty members. They come from all across the university, affiliated with our center, and ASU being so large, you can hardly imagine an issue around food and agriculture that we're not engaged in. But our little center has a few priorities. First, we educate a lot. We have a BS in Sustainable Food Systems, an MS in Sustainable Food Systems, and a graduate certificate in Food Policy and Sustainability Leadership. Send me your applicants. We really want to support the next generation of leaders. In terms of research, the last time I saw a lot of you was January 2020 when we had an event on the wisdom of indigenous foodways. So one of our research priorities is to help empower indigenous voices. And just yesterday we got great news from a foundation that we are getting a grant to help provide scholarship support to Native Americans to come to our degree program. So come knocking. We are interested in the power of deliciousness. We know people are only going to change their behavior so much because it's better for their health and better for the planet. So how do we harness deliciousness? And one of the things we did in this area is we trained 220 chefs in plant-forward menus in collaboration with Google and Compass Foods. They got a certificate from ASU, and they're excited about that. Organic agriculture is a big priority for us. You'll be hearing from Colleen Hanley from the Swette Center later today. True cost accounting of food. We're particularly looking at beef livestock systems. You'll hear from Dr. Mauricio Bellin later today on that. And we're really interested in supporting progressive industry efforts. I was spent a couple weeks ago at the Natural Foods Expo, and there's all kinds of wacky and new ideas around food that are coming out, and we just want to stay on the cutting edge for our students and for our own research. So I do want to just acknowledge Suzanne Palmieri on my staff, who's really been the mastermind here, and her able team of Colleen Hanley and Christina Adams and all of the Swette Center team for helping pull this together, working with our collaborators on this summit. Follow us on social media today and always. And now I will introduce our next speaker, Mark. Oh, yes, no. Okay. I'm not exactly sure what I'm waiting for. Okay, all right. So I don't think Mark Killian is any stranger to you all. He has been our Director of Agriculture here in the state for quite some time. When I set foot in Arizona to take my new job at ASU, in my very first week, I went to meet with Mark, who is incredibly gracious, and we found that we had so much passion around this common issue, and it was farm to school. And he's been a great collaborator for the Swette Center and for all of us during his time. We know that Governor Ducey's term is coming to an end. Maybe Mark goes back to the ranch. Who knows what he does? But I did want to make sure that he got one of these great Swette Center T-shirts because I consider him part of our team. And Mark, you're always welcome to come join us. And it's with great honor that we ask you to come to the stage and give a little welcome.
Appreciate it. Well, the only problem when I was listening to you list the degrees that you're offering, you need a degree in donut eating. I'd appreciate that. I know that isn't good for our nutritionists, but that's what we need. Well, thank you for being here. This is awesome. When we started this thing back in 2016, it's hard to believe that it's grown to this extent. And just to give you a little history, the reason we started this was as the Governor Ducey was putting together his dashboard of issues of Arizona, we were in a number of discussions, and I was somewhat amazed at a lot of the other directors, and this is not a criticism, it's just the actual reality we deal with, didn't bring up food insecurity or food systems at all. And so I'm not a shrinking violet, so I suggested that maybe that's one of the most important things we ought to be focusing on. So we were successful in getting that as part of his dashboard, and out of that we created the Food and Ag Committee, which was designed to create a synergy in the state where we could bring everybody together in one place at one time to share ideas. And the purpose of these meetings is for you to take your brains out, roll them around, and share them with your neighbor, okay? And the experiences that you're having and the knowledge that you have, we need to share that. Because all of us experience different difficulties and challenges, successes, and hopefully in these meetings we can share those to help solve this problem. I was, as Secretary Vilsack was talking, I thought, man, we're doing this and we're doing that, and I could take 2 hours and tell you some of the stuff we're doing that he talked about, but I want to tell you a story. A lady by the name of Gay Kleinman. Now, Gay was born in Utah and moved to Arizona with her mother. Her mother was a school teacher in Mesa. And 3 kids in the family, single mom. Her mother was single and trying to survive. And eventually they moved to Phoenix because that's where her mother was teaching school. And in those days, a single mother teaching in school didn't earn much money. $2,500, $3,000 a year, whatever it was. So times were pretty tough for Gay's family. In fact, at one point, hunger was a huge issue. And there had been several days where they had gone without food, and they were out playing in the front yard, and her little brother noticed that they had thrown a beanbag up on the roof. And so they lifted him up on the roof, and he got the beanbag, and they took it in the house and cut it open, and that was what their meal was for the next few days. And as she grew older, she eventually came here to ASU and got her degree in home economics. And as a mother, she raised her family to be sensitive to those kinds of issues. Gay was my mother. She learned how to cook. She learned to be very efficient. And she made sure that her 2 sons were very sensitive to the needs of those who go without. So when people say to me, Mark, as a director of agriculture, why are you so invested in food insecurity? One answer, beanbag. Because there's many families in Arizona that are experiencing that very same thing. And with all the abundance that we have, not only in Arizona and in this country, and we have the best agriculture in the world, there shouldn't be one child that goes to bed hungry at night. Not one. And so the challenge that we have as this group is to figure out how we stop that from happening. And so we face a huge challenge. I mean, some of the counties in our state are some of the worst food insecurity counties in the United States. Apache and Navajo counties. We have places in the middle of Phoenix where there are no grocery stores. And there are people that end up eating a lot of empty calories. And they're not getting the right nutrition. We've lost a generation of people who don't know how to cook. And many times, some of the food boxes that we give to some of the poor and the needy, they open it up and they say, well, what do we do with this? There is a huge need, not only in Arizona, but across the nation, to help people learn how to cook. We've made non-home family meals difficult because we've made fast food everywhere. It's too easy to run down to McDonald's or Burger King or wherever, Chick-fil-A, you name it, and get dinner. And so in this discussion of what we do, one of the things we need to talk about is how do we help people learn how to cook again? And the value of that, and the money that it saves, and the nutrition that comes with a good home-cooked meal. And so we have a lot of challenges. I think we can get it done, and that's why we're having these meetings. COVID was a pain, still is, okay? It's so nice to be at a meeting in face. I love it. This is great. My son has a beef business. He's put it on hiatus right now, but it was April or May of 2020, about the time that the meatpacking plants were having problems back in the Midwest, and people were starting to see no meat in the stores. I was working from home that one Friday, and the cars just started coming into the farm. Just car after car after car after car. What's going on? And he had about 140 people standing in line to buy his beef. And it was like that every Friday and Saturday that he was open for months and months. Because people were afraid that they couldn't get food in the stores. It was a shocker. And I think it was a real wake-up call for America in that we have grown so used to abundance, which is a good thing, and that the stores being there, that no one ever contemplated that the truckers couldn't truck, or your workers in the store were sick, okay, or you couldn't go anywhere. And all of a sudden, everybody's going, oh my heaven's sakes, we have a problem in the distribution system. And so one of the challenges I'm issuing to people is to begin to think about how we can help families begin small, get back into the gardening business. What about families that live in apartments that don't have any dirt? Go get a pot. Let's help them buy pots with some soil and grow at least a tomato. It's pretty hard to kill a tomato plant, okay? Or plant some radishes, some lettuce. We need to do that. And where they're able and where we can help them, maybe start putting a little food aside for a rainy day. How many people today live day to day? Okay? Go to the grocery store every day, every other couple of days. That's an issue that we need to deal with with food security, is how we can help them with that. Because if this ever happens again, and it's a good chance it could, we need to help them be prepared. And so we have some interesting challenges out there. The Department of Agriculture has a very interesting role in all of this. Part of our job is to protect agriculture and do everything we can to protect agriculture, both small and large. Yesterday, I was meeting with a group of farmers from Yuma who are very concerned because there's a new disease coming into Yuma from California that ruins lettuce. Just absolutely ruins it. And we're trying to figure out how to keep it out of Arizona. Where it has been established in California, it ruins whole fields, huge fields. It costs millions and millions of dollars, and you see all this good lettuce just going to waste. Takes that nice green lettuce head, and the disease starts at the top, and it just turns brown, right into the middle. And it's brought about by this little bug that carries the disease. And we have meetings like that all the time where our department employees are working with agriculture to keep your food safe, to keep it viable. We also work with the FDA in trying to keep your food organism-free. Issues like E. coli and salmonella in our fresh fruits and vegetables. We work hand in hand with them. We do milk testing. We do cheese testing. We do meat and poultry testing. We do that. We have inspectors that look at all of that to make sure that that food is safe. So we play an important role in making that happen. So I tell people that the Department of Agriculture is a health and safety organization. We play a vital role in that. We have a wonderful team. Michelle, would you stand up? Michelle Malott is, I call her the food czar at the Department of Agriculture. You'll give her a hand. She, besides trying to keep me out of trouble with food, she works with weights and measures. And she keeps that organization going. But she volunteers her time to do this, and she's done an awesome job. Where's Elizabeth Taylor? Elizabeth is the chairman of our Food and Ag Committee. She has done a wonderful job, and we appreciate her leadership. Do we have any other members of the Food and Ag Committee here? Can you stand up? You all stand up there, Sharma. Thank you very much. So they play an important role, and we appreciate all that they do. Two last things, and then I got 3 minutes. Secretary Vilsack talked about this, just mentioned it. The decline in the family farm. Right now, in this country, we have very, 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 very wealthy individuals, billionaires buying up farmland like crazy. And they're walking in and they're paying farmers a lot of money for their land that they've never had before. And a farmer sitting there looking at his family, thinking to himself, do I want to be poor for the rest of my life? Do I want my kids to go to college? And he or she says, to heck with this. I'm tired of starving to death, and I'm tired of losing money every year. And they're selling their farms off. And the rapid purchasing of those farms by those very, very wealthy individuals is creating a concentration of ownership of farmland. And folks, we're heading right back to where England was in the 13th and the 14th century. And before too long, those of us who live in agriculture will be nothing more than serfs and peasants because we won't own anything. We'll be hired by the ultra wealthy. This is a huge problem for America. And it's linked to food security. And the ownership of land, to whatever degree, is part of our heritage. It's a part of what makes America great. And it's a sad thing that it's happening. And so we need to be very concerned about that and what goes on with that. The last thing I don't want to talk about right now is a tax that's come on all of us, and it's called inflation. And if there was ever a time to be very sensitive to the needs of those who are poor and needy, it's right now. All of us, as we've gone to the grocery store lately, notice how the prices have gone up? My son who farms told me the other day that when he filled up his diesel tank at the farm, it used to be about $15,000. Now it's $37,000. His fertilizer used to be about $350 a ton. Now it's over $980 a ton. They're looking at increasing the power costs in that area where he farms about 40%. And I said, Nathan, how's your budget going? He said, Dad, I don't have a budget anymore. It's all out of my control. And even though some of his commodity prices have gone up, finally, it's not keeping pace with the inflation. Nancy told me yesterday she went to Costco and she bought some new sheets for our bed, and she remembered exactly about 4 years ago when she bought those sheets, they were like $28 or $29 for the set. Yesterday they were $75. Okay? And every one of us can think of things that we buy that have gone up. It's just crazy. It's just really crazy. So for all of you in this room, if there was ever a time where we are needed really bad to help these folks, today. So as you go through all of these speeches and talks and workout sessions, I hope we come away with some solutions, some action items, so that when Friday rolls around, we're doing something. If you're like me, I'm tired of all the politicians that talk to us all the time, and it seems like they say the same thing over and over and over again. And I'm to the point in my life now where I'm saying, well, when are you going to do something about it? And I've come to the conclusion I can't wait for them. I have to do it. I have to step out of my own community and do it. I'm not going to wait for them anymore. I'm going to do whatever I can within my sphere of influence to try and make a difference. And I know each one of you can do that. I am so grateful for all of you. I'm grateful that you're here today. I'm grateful that you care. I'm grateful that you understand agriculture and food and the need to take care of people. And I hope the Lord blesses you in your efforts to do that. There's nothing more important than feeding people. It's, when we talked about food sovereignty, it's the key to life. It's the key to freedom. It's the key to liberty. It creates the brain power that children can succeed. It's so important to us. Let's don't forget that. Thank you all very much.